like these internet players come in from like you just said, Doc Sands. You know, online he has 30 seconds, and if he presses time, he gets like another 30 seconds to make a call for how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when you come into a tournament, all of a sudden every decision is 10 minutes. It's just like, seriously, really? That's what's just more annoying, because you know they know what they're doing, or you think they know what they're doing.
I will never call time on someone. But I've had, certainly I've had it called on me.
Oh, you better hope they're watching it. They're aware of other stuff.
It was, yeah, like I hadn't taken it that long. I had taken a couple of minutes, but when he called time on me, like then I'm like kind of like, even if
it's thinking, on.
Yeah, now I'm going to wait till the last second.
Yeah.
You know.
20 under the gun from Damien in this hand with Ace King. 4 callers.
Wow,
two flush draws. Paul with the best of it. His still only 10 high though, so sometimes you can say, oh well, he might still be scared with his, but he actually only has 350 behind. So if the flush comes, he's not going anywhere. JC can't get him off the hand.
This is remarkable because a lot of times you'll see what JC's saying. He's fought bottom pair with a flush draw, and he's actually got a bit of a backdoor straight draw. That's such a strong hand that you want to get as much in it as you can. But as we see with 2 of the outs already taken with Paul's flush draw, so his flush draw is negated, and then also, you know, he doesn't even have the best pair.
Yeah, I do not love this bet from Damien. He's betting into a field of 5 players, betting into 4 callers with Ace King 60. I think you could easily just have checked there. There's no point. There's no reason to bet, especially on a coordinated flop where even if people have nothing, they're going to call you. And you can see every single person is calling. I think you're just throwing money away at that point. It's just, it's not necessary.
Sure. And keep the pot smaller, because now the pot's, it's a $400 pot, so now Matt's picked up the straight draw, or the flush draw.
So 2 different flush draws out there. Matt's going to bet his.
And I like that. I mean, there's so many callers now. If he knows if he hits, then he's got it. But at the same time, you know, he can thin the field out. Like Damien should be certainly going. You know, even Napoon might, you know, fold his hand.
205 is the bet. Yeah, and that's a problem with bloating the pot. Now any bet on this turn is just so large that, you know, your Ace King, obviously you're not calling. Even made hands now, like Napoon's, is considering folding.
It was questionable. Although I never knew this.
There's so many times when I'm in a situation like this, certainly like with Napoon, where I can certainly fold this hand, and Damien, but you know, where I might, I just, there's part of me that would just like want to fold. You know, like Paul's hand, like I would almost be like, you know what?
Well, there's a lot of me that would want to fold this hand. I wouldn't have called it in the first place, but I mean, at this point, with this many people behind and such a draw-heavy board, you know they probably need to get some action. I'm sure Napoon is thinking about Matt and probably knows that Matt can easily not have him beat, not have an 8 beat here. But the problem is you have 3 other opponents, and wow, and Napoon's just going for it. He is going to push all in. 3 other opponents behind you that could easily have something.
And you know what, Matt almost has to call like for pot odds. Would you say?
Well, and it's still over to Damien, who could have had a hand. You never know. But Napoon, I think, just playing Matt in that hand, which is tough. Luckily for him.
I mean, Matt's only got 400 behind and 1,200 in the pot. You know, that's.
I think if you're going to put this bet in here,
you got to go with it. Clearly.
I don't know if you have to, but I mean, you were gambling with that bet, and why not continue with a massive pot that you're going for?
Wait, how? 300 more. It's 2. Yeah.
300 more. That means there's 900 in the
pot. He got total 505.
I mean,
Okay.
I think that the math is right. Like, so you could call that.
300 more.
And what's interesting is, you know, with the 2 overs and the flush draw, you know, he's actually got more outs than he might even think he's aware of.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's getting 4-1. He's got to decide if his 2 overs are good. He's got. I mean, basically, I don't know if he's even thinking all this, or if he's just thinking, do I want to gamble, or is he thinking, does Nipun already has he already filled up? You know, is it worth it? You know.
But at the same time, if he has filled up with all these draws, wouldn't he slow play it because he wants the draws to catch him?
Yeah, I mean, you would think if the guy had a full house, he would just call and try to get the other opponents to call behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't put. I'd probably either best put him on a 3 in this situation, and pretty much figure my flush draw is,
Fantastic. I feel special.
you know, still live.
I'm looking at our bios right now, and
No, I have draw card.
Matt's going to call. So let's see. Matt needs a club or a 10 or a jack. Actually, not doing as bad as he probably thinks he might be.
8.
And see, that's exactly what, you know, Matt didn't even realize he had the out.
Oh, and that's not it, but that would have brought 2 flushes for JCW. JCW and Paul both would have had a flush. Paul would have had a bigger one with 10 high.
Well, I guess the all-in button, you know, makes it a pretty wise fold, especially with what we know. But with the flush draw on the turn, like I love the turn push when to get a flush draw out. I hate like trying to get it out on the flop, you know, because a person that's not really indicative of, you know, smart poker play. It's just the style that they have. 2 outs or 2 cards that come with flush draw. They're just players that are going to go with that, and then there's other players that are going to do the math and realize like it's not worth it for me to chase.